Can abandoning Stoic principles ruin a relationship in just 2 weeks? Let's explore the story of Alex and Taylor, a couple admired for their connection, rooted not just in love, but in shared values of patience, respect, and understanding. Yet, as life threw challenges their way, one of them veered from the path of self-control and reflection, exposing the fragility of even the most robust bonds. Stoicism, often seen as a philosophy for personal resilience, holds profound wisdom for relationships. Its teachings on emotional regulation, open communication, and shared accountability create harmony and trust. But what happens when these principles are ignored? This story isn't just about Alex and Taylor. It's a cautionary tale for anyone seeking to understand how straying from Stoic practices can not only disrupt relationships, but also erode the values that bind people together. Let's unravel their journey. Alex was a dedicated practitioner of Stoicism. Calm, patient, and grounded, they approached life's challenges with a sense of purpose and reason. Their partner, Taylor, admired this deeply, not just because it made Alex a steady presence in their life, but because it brought peace to their relationship. Conflicts, when they arose, never escalated. Alex's patience allowed space for understanding, and their focus on clear, rational communication turned arguments into opportunities for growth. They never took Taylor for granted, finding joy in the simple pleasures of shared meals, quiet evenings, or even a kind word. It was a relationship built on mutual respect and gratitude, a living testament to the power of Stoic principles. But when Alex started a new job, a role demanding long hours and unrelenting pressure, things began to change. The daily practice of reflection slipped away. Frustrations once held in check started bubbling to the surface. Taylor noticed the difference. Sharp words where there once was calm, distance where there once was connection. What had been a harmonious partnership began to feel strained, like a ship drifting off course. Neither could have guessed how quickly things would unravel. The cracks began to show almost immediately. By the second day of Alex's new job, their usual calm demeanor had shifted. Small irritations that once rolled off their shoulders now stuck like thorns. When Alex couldn't find their keys one morning, they snapped at Taylor, accusing them of moving them. It was unlike Alex, whose typical response would have been a composed, "I must have misplaced them." Day by day, the changes became more evident. By day 3, even light-hearted teasing between them turned sour. A casual comment from Taylor about Alex working too hard was met with a sharp retort. Well, not everyone has the luxury of time to relax. Taylor blinked, stunned. That wasn't the Alex they knew. Disagreements, once resolved with reason and understanding, started spiraling into petty conflicts. Alex's words grew impulsive, colored by stress rather than reflection. Taylor began to feel the weight of Alex's frustrations, carrying it like an invisible burden. By day 4, tension was palpable. Taylor, once confident in their bond, started to feel unseen and unappreciated. Gratitude was replaced with irritability, and moments that used to be joyful were now clouded with discomfort. For Alex, the signs were clear but unacknowledged. Their once regular practice of self-awareness, journaling, reflecting, pausing before speaking, had disappeared, swallowed by the demands of the job. The space they once held for understanding and balance was filled with stress and impulsivity. For Taylor, it felt as if the person they loved was slipping away. Conversations grew shorter and smiles turned forced. The distance between them widened, marked by unspoken tension and hurt feelings. Neither of them realized these early days were the foundation for something much deeper, a rift that threatened to pull them apart. By day 5, the atmosphere between Alex and Taylor had grown tense. Alex's emotions, once tempered by Stoic practice, now ran unchecked. Small annoyances became the spark for unnecessary arguments. When Taylor accidentally spilled coffee on a report Alex had brought home, Alex exploded. "Do you even care about what I'm dealing with?" they shouted, their tone cutting. Taylor froze, the weight of the accusation sinking in deeper than the stain on the paper. Taylor, once understanding and patient, began to grow defensive. "I said I'm sorry," they replied sharply. "Why are you acting like this is all my fault?" The cracks widened. As the days passed, Alex's lack of reflection caused a dangerous shift in perspective. Without pausing to consider their own role in the conflict, they began to assume the worst about Taylor's intentions. A missed call from Taylor during lunch became, in Alex's mind, evidence that they didn't care. When Taylor suggested they spend time apart one evening, it felt to Alex like rejection, not a gesture of self-preservation. Alex had unknowingly abandoned Marcus Aurelius's profound wisdom: be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Instead of showing Taylor the patience and understanding that had once defined their relationship, Alex's frustrations were unleashed on them. The self-discipline they used to practice to examine their own actions was replaced by blame and bitterness. Taylor, emotionally drained, began withdrawing. The warmth they had always brought into the relationship was now overshadowed by a sense of self-protection. "Why do I feel like I have to walk on eggshells around you?" they asked one evening. It wasn't just a question, it was a cry for relief. By day 10, Alex was beginning to feel their own dissatisfaction. They didn't recognize the person they had become. They missed the ease of their conversations, the laughter, and the feeling of being a team. Yet, their stress blinded them from taking responsibility, leaving them stuck in a cycle of frustration and regret. Taylor, too, was grappling with a heavy heart. They loved Alex, but couldn't ignore how much they were hurting. Every argument chipped away at the connection they had built, leaving both wondering how much more their relationship could take. The emotional turmoil was undeniable, but neither knew how to bridge the growing gap. By day 11, the tension that had been simmering for days reached its boiling point. The argument started over something insignificant. Taylor forgot to pick up groceries on their way home. What should have been a small inconvenience turned into a storm. "You can't even do this one thing," Alex snapped. Taylor, already exhausted from walking on eggshells, fired back, "Maybe if you treated me like a partner instead of a punching bag, I wouldn't forget." The fight escalated rapidly. Harsh words replaced understanding, and years of love seemed to evaporate in minutes. For Alex, the frustration wasn't really about groceries. It was about the stress of work, the loss of their center, and their inability to take control of their emotions. But instead of pausing to reflect, as they once would, they lashed out, driven by external circumstances rather than inner calm. In abandoning the Stoic principle of gratitude, Alex had lost sight of the good in their life. Taylor, who had always been their supporter, now felt like an adversary. Marcus Aurelius taught, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Yet Alex had allowed outside pressures to dictate their actions, neglecting the inner control that had once defined them. For Taylor, the breaking point wasn't just the argument. It was the culmination of days of feeling unseen, unvalued, and drained. With tears in their eyes, they finally said, "I can't do this anymore, Alex. I need to step away for me." Though painful, Taylor's decision to leave was an act of self-preservation. They had given all they could, but realized they couldn't stay in a relationship where their emotional well-being was compromised. In that moment, Alex was left to face the consequences of straying from their principles. They saw the damage their unchecked emotions and lack of reflection had caused, but it was too late. The bond they had cherished had unraveled, leaving them to reflect on the lessons learned too late. In the quiet that followed the breakup, Alex found themselves alone with their thoughts. The absence of Taylor, once a source of joy and stability, was a stark reminder of what had been lost. Seeking solace, Alex returned to their Stoic readings, Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, desperate for guidance and clarity. Epictetus's words hit home, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Alex realized how far they had strayed from mastering their emotions. Stress and frustration, left unchecked, had taken control, creating chaos in their relationship. The arguments and hurtful words weren't just about external pressures. They were a failure to apply the very principles Alex once held dear. Seneca's teachings on relationships offered another painful truth. We are waves of the same sea, leaves of the same tree, flowers of the same garden. Alex reflected on how they had treated Taylor, someone who had been a part of their shared garden. Instead of nurturing their connection, they had allowed weeds of anger and impatience to grow unchecked. The experience taught Alex that Stoicism isn't a one-time practice. It's a lifelong commitment, especially in relationships. Understanding, patience, and respect aren't optional, they're the foundation. Alex resolved to not only rebuild their own emotional discipline, but to approach future relationships with renewed humility and gratitude. Stoicism isn't just for solitude, it's a tool for building strong relationships. Neglect it, and you might lose more than your composure. You might lose someone you love. Alex's journey is a stark reminder that the Stoic virtues of patience, reflection, and emotional control don't just strengthen us as individuals, they are the bedrock of meaningful, lasting connections with others. When we stray from these principles, we risk allowing our emotions to dictate our actions, creating chaos where there was once harmony. In relationships, it's the consistent practice of Stoicism, understanding, respect, and gratitude that nurtures growth and love. So, I encourage you to reflect. How can Stoic principles guide your own relationships? Are there moments where emotional turmoil has clouded your judgment? Just as Alex learned, it's never too late to return to the path of self-discipline and reflection. Start today and see how Stoicism can transform your connections with those you care about.